Hi and welcome back. You're probably wondering why I am wearing so many layers. We lost power this morning and that has completely derailed all of my plans for today, and I don't know when it's going to come back on. So what I had wanted to do was do a 2022 sort of year in review with all the things that I purchased for the Bustle collection. My hopes is that eventually with this collection, I will be able to create traveling exhibits, affordable traveling exhibits for small museums or mid-sized museums, depending on how it all goes and how many pieces I can offer at affordable prices. So a lot of the times you have traveling exhibits that if they're affordable, they're just panels. If they actually include objects, they're like way out of reach for a lot of small museums. And I work at a small museum where we cannot afford exhibits that are $10,000 or more. So with me not having power, I'm just gonna film until I don't have any battery life left on my camera, or I lose battery on my laptop. I have everything photographed on there. So anyways, what I wanted to do was just go ahead and film what I could with what battery life I had, go through my collection and show it to you, and just film until I can't anymore. And then when I can charge my stuff, I will continue filming. I purchased 22 things in 2022 and I totally did not mean to do that. It's not on purpose. But everything that I bought, it was almost everything. I take that back. I bought a lot of things for an upcoming exhibit that I'm doing. It's a traveling exhibit on the 1920s and a 1920s fashion. So I did buy a lot of items to go specifically towards that exhibit. There are some things that I did buy that I wish I hadn't bought, and will probably be reselling, so I'll make sure to tell you about those. I do have a shop on my website if you're interested in some of the items that I might be selling. Check back for those. I haven't really updated it too much just because life has gotten in the way. I originally wanted to film this video last week, the weekend before, but things just, the last 2 weeks have been absolutely crazy. We lost power over Christmas for 56 hours. It got down to 36 degrees in our house. I was trying to film then and I ran out of battery on my camera. No way to charge it, no way to charge my laptop, that died also. We are fostering, or we were fostering kittens. I'm a foster fail, and so out of the 3 kittens that were living in our backyard, we adopted 2 of them, and so I've been trying to socialize them because they were extremely feral. So it's been a pretty crazy 2 weeks. Yeah, and plus like working full-time in between that. And just trying to get the house back together because, I mean, we lost power from Friday morning, 7 a.m. until Sunday night at 7 p.m. So it was a really long time. And all we were doing was just trying to stay warm. We did go to my parents' house for a little bit on Christmas Eve. But because we had so many cats here, tiny little baby cats, solidarity, I wanted to stay with them. But anyways, that's enough about my sob story from the last 2 weeks. I know there are a lot of people out there who have it a lot harder than me, and I'm just so thankful for what we do have. But anyways, let's get right into what I bought for 2022. So the first thing I bought for 2022 was this amazing 1940s blouse. It is linen. And it's light blue and it has this really beautiful decoration at the yoke. It's cut out with mesh, like a cotton mesh net at the neckline, which is then decorated with white seed beads. There is a little keyhole button closure at the back of the neck, and it has these really cool, this is more of a 1930s thing, these cap sleeves that give the garment a triangular shape. The 1940s, you'll see these as well, but they'll have shoulder pads. The other thing to make this 1940s is definitely the darts at the waist. It really cinched in, the volume from the upper part of the body to the waist, and then there was flare at the hips. That way you could tuck it into a skirt. And I bought this piece specifically to go with a 1940s utility suit, a navy blue utility suit. Because the 1940s, especially with World War II, they were all about making do with what they had, looking smart but still fashionable. So this blouse actually fit perfectly with that suit. So I'm really excited about that. Eventually do want to do a 1940s traveling exhibit. So that was kind of setting the stage for that. I have no idea where I got it. Off of Etsy somewhere, I think. I do keep track of all that, but I try to, at least. I try to keep track of it. I don't know if I actually do a very good job, but. So the second piece that I bought in 2022 was this really cool Eton jacket. And this Eton jacket is from between 1903 and 1905. So Eton jackets, they're based off of Eton College in the UK. And basically for women, it was a cropped jacket. This one has sort of a pigeon bodice. So it's cropped at the back. And then it's a little bit longer on the front, and it has, they're not exactly bishop sleeves, but they are a little bit fuller at the shoulder, not quite Gigot, but a little bit fuller at the shoulder, and then wider down to the cuff. It's got this really beautiful applique around the bust line, which is then interspersed with decorative soutache, and I think it's soutache. It's like a braided cord, flat cord, which I guess is sort of soutache, but anyway, so this is all wool. It is very gorgeous, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. I may end up reselling it later, but as of right now, I'm gonna keep it. So the third item is super spectacular, and you might have actually seen this on my blog and on my Instagram. I did a quick post about it, about one of my top 5 things that I bought in 2022. It is this amazing Gigot bodice from about 1894 to 1896. It's got these gorgeous balloon sleeves. It's silk satin. And they are just in impeccable condition. I do want to eventually make a skirt for this because I do want to make a Gibson Girl traveling exhibit. So I want to make a skirt with this, whereas I could display the bodice by itself, but I think that the satin is in perfect condition. It's going to be easy to find satin to make a gored skirt. So I think having the entire piece together, a bodice and a skirt, is going to make the effect just so much more stunning. And yeah, so that's what I want to do with this piece. But it's got this really weird gold and black net along both the front of the bodice and the back. On the back, it's nice and cinched in at the back of the waist, and it's attached to the blue silk. On the front, it's not, so I'm really confused by that. It does need some conservation, so I think I'm going to look into that at some point. There's no label, unfortunately, but you can tell it was couture. It's got these decorative brass buttons at the sleeves, and it's just all around an absolutely stunning piece, and I'm so excited to showcase this in the future. So next, this is sort of the start of my 1920s buying, and I think the rest of the items that I purchased this year are all from the 1920s. But this piece is actually really cool because it is a later 1920s dress. I think in 1929, there's a Vogue, August Vogue cover that has a dress that's very similar to this. And this one is this really cool, like sage green, asymmetrical ruffled skirt, dress with a two-toned bow at the neckline. It's got these really cute covered buttons at the cuffs, drop waist, and it's fairly sheer. So the woman who wore this probably would have worn a green silk slip underneath, but it is absolutely stunning. Again, I think it's like 1929. So this next piece, it's very similar to the last one, and I think I bought this one first before I found the green one. So I'm probably going to sell this one because the green is a much better example. This is also later 1920s. It's like a peach salmon-y colored dress with a jacket. It's sleeveless, and it's got lace all up at the yoke and on the back of the neck. And the jacket is also designed asymmetrical, same thing as the skirt, the drop waist skirt. And it's a cute dress. She didn't really fit my mannequin, so if I do put her on exhibit, I'm gonna have to make a smaller mannequin, which my mannequin's already really small, so which I don't mind doing. But anyways, so yeah, this is it's a pretty piece, but I think just not for me right now. So again, the next one is very similar to the last two, but this one is actually, it's really impeccable, in impeccable condition. It's a gold, I guess sort of gold colored, Schiaparelli style dress with the trompe-l'oeil bow at the yoke. It is one piece, but the way that the dress is designed, and again, I think this is like 1927, 1928, maybe 1929, so this is definitely a later 1920s dress, but it's got demarcation at the waist with ruffles, and then an asymmetrical ruffled hem. And it is also sleeveless, so it comes with a jacket. And the really cool thing about this dress, besides the trompe-l'oeil bow, is all the buttons, the tiny covered buttons at the side waist, as well as on the jacket. They're just so cute, and I can't imagine wearing something on a daily basis with so many buttons. But I know like they didn't have zippers and all that kind of stuff, so this is just probably one thing that they got used to. One other really cool thing about this dress is the high ruffled collar. The cuffs have also got the ruffle on them. So it's just a really, really cool example of maybe not couture, but someone who lovingly lovingly beaded this and took really good care of it. So I'm really excited to add this to my collection. So this next piece, I bought it because I thought it was a little bit different than it was. I thought it was like a combination. I mean, it kind of is combination underwear, but there's a flap on the back, and you don't find too many examples with flaps on the back of the combination underwear. So again, this is the 1920s. It is very teeny tiny. It does not fit on my normal mannequin. And it is basically like drawers. It's the tiny little legs, tiny little straps. I'm wondering if this is for like a teenage girl or something. To be worn under your slip. So it's a really pretty pink, very thin silk, and I may end up selling this piece just because I have a better example that I bought later of an envelope chemise, which you might have seen in my previous video when I unboxed that. I'll link that up here somewhere. So yeah, so I think I'll use that one in the exhibit instead of this one in particular. So I also bought a 1920s college girl corset. So this is a bandeau style corset, which came in a little bit later. Now this is the college girl brand. So that is from the Jackson Corset Company. And their whole motto was that they made corsets that were sort of approved by doctors and, you know, all about health and exercise. So anyway, so this is a bandeau style corset, and it's got, instead of like most corsets which had the vertical channeling and the vertical boning in it, this actually has horizontal channeling at the waist, just to help give a little bit extra support. And but other than that, there's literally no boning in this at all. So this next piece, I bought it because I thought it looked very reminiscent to a 1920s dress that I have. I don't think it's 1920s. I think it's either late 1930s or early 1940s, and I like it, but I'm not sold on it. I may end up keeping it. I'm not sure yet, but I definitely think it's like it's a weird crepe de chine fabric on the exterior, but then on the inside, I think it's some sort of synthetic. I have not done a swatch test on it or a fabric burn test on it yet, but I think it is a synthetic dress, which makes me think it's more closer to the mid to early to mid to late 1940s. It does have green crepe de chine in it, silk accent. So that is, I know that's silk, but the bulk of the main garment, I'm pretty sure it's synthetic. It's got this really pretty soutache on it, and just decoration, which that's what drew me to the piece in the beginning. It also has little keyhole button neckline at the back. But then it has these weird like collar-like things. I don't know if it's supposed to be a bow. They are attached to the front, so I don't really, that's what's kind of throwing me off. But the shoulders are definitely more 1940s, as well as the loops, the belt loops. Those are actually more 1950s, but the belt loops at the waist. So all in all, I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do with this dress. I've been trying very recently to, instead of just buying with a purpose. And this is one of those pieces that I bought. There was no purpose to it. So again, I may end up selling this piece. So this next piece that I bought with the intent to sell. And then I got it and I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I actually did a little more research on it, and I think it is from 1920. It looks more like it's from the late 19-teens, but just based off the length of the dress, the style, the fabric, I'm pretty sure it's around 1920. So it's got this, it's a really pretty silk, and it's got this gorgeous beading over like a sheer overlay, and then with like a little drop waist, not really drop waist, but like a little sash that does sort of drop down a little bit farther at the defined waist, and it's got all these really cool buttons, covered buttons at the side and the back. Anyway, so yeah, it's gonna be part of the 1920s exhibit. So because I don't have any other 1920 pieces, so it's kind of neat to see the style definitions. You know, everyone says, oh, the dresses got shorter and shorter, but the dresses didn't really get shorter until 1925, 1926. So you still had the 1920, 21, 22 dresses were all very similar to the 1918, 1919 dresses. And then the drop waist didn't really happen until later, like 23, 24, 25. So it's kind of hard to distinguish between what might be 1920 and what might be 1919. But I definitely think this is a 1920 piece. So the next piece that I got, I wanted to sell it, but then I got it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So this is, I think around 1923. It is a navy blue sheer silk dress, and it has a detached silk slip underneath, and it's got these really cool lace inset and eyelet pieces that are in the asymmetrical skirt and then along the sleeves. And then it's got this really cool drop waist buckle. The belt buckle is attached, so you can't take it apart or anything like that. But it's like a metal brass alloy of some sort, gold with blue rhinestones. So and it looks like a little fan. It's very Art Deco-y, and just so iconic for the 1920s. So it does need some conservation. So that's one thing I'm gonna have to do before it does go on exhibit, just to stabilize the shoulders. But otherwise, I think it'll be a good addition because I don't have a lot of pieces from the early 1920s. Most of the stuff I have is from the mid part of the decade or a little bit later. So yeah, I'm excited about this piece. So this next one is actually not a 1920s piece. I think pretty much everything after this is, but this is a piece that I got in a mystery box, an 1850s to 1880s, I think, mystery box. It is an 1860s dress. It's got the huge hoop skirt. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got it's striped silk taffeta or plaid silk taffeta. This really pretty purple, and it's got this black velvet detailing along the yoke or at the bust line, which then goes to the back and it's on the cuffs, and then it has this gigantic bow, which then wraps around to the waist and covers the closures at the waist. It's just a really, really pretty piece. Unfortunately, all the buttons are sort of falling off. They've been like safety pinned on and stuff, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that. I don't have a great hoop skirt. I need to make a new one to display, but eventually I do want to do an 1860s exhibit as well. So I'm really excited about this piece, and I can't wait to show it off a little bit better, because I feel like the photographs just don't really do it justice. Oh gosh, this is one of my favorite pieces. I mean, there's a lot of favorite pieces that I got within 2022, but this is a later 1920s dress. I think, well, I say later, it's probably like 1926, 1927. And it is a printed silk, and it has this really cool red silk detailing along the bust line, asymmetric, and then a drop waist. And I don't know a lot about this dress. I haven't done too much research, so I'm excited to do a little more about that. But this is definitely going in the 1920s exhibit, just as like another day dress. And again, for somewhat of the mid part of the period. Here's another really cool 1920s dress. This one I think is from about 1924. I could be wrong about that. I don't have my notes up, but I think it's from about 1924. And there actually is no demarcation for the waist for this one. And it's got these really cool sort of light green, seafoam green, velvet, horizontal lines at the bottom of the dress. And then it's got the velvet at the collar with the bow, and then I think it's along the cuffs as well. Yes, along the cuffs as well. So it does have a tie at the back of the waist, just again to get a little more definition, even though in the 1920s they wanted that boyish figure. So that's kind of unusual, but overall it's such a neat little day dress. At one point, someone had taken off the pockets. There's a lot of needle scarring from where the pockets were, and I don't know if those were an addition or if someone later was just like, I don't like these on here. But it would have been really cool to see the dress with the pockets. That's actually one thing I really love about historic fashion, is you can see the modifications over time as people wanted to modify it for the different styles of the decade, or, you know, like especially with the earlier pieces where you have like a dress from the 1770s that was then remodeled in the 1790s, things like that. I do have a couple pieces in the collection like that, but I just think it's just a really, really cool archaeological discovery when you find pieces that have been modified to fit a certain decade. So just to conform to the times. So I also bought a pair of tap pants and a bandeau bra. Bandeau bras sort of came in at the later part of the decade, before you just wore your envelope chemise or a slip with your corset. So the bandeau bra was sort of a new invention, and you know, as the 1920s went on, people started moving sort of away from corsets. They still wore corsets, definitely, in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s, just different variations of corsets. And then these tap pants, they're kind of unique because they tie at the sides. They are completely open at the sides, and this would have been your underwear. So they're a little bit different than today's underwear for sure. But they're really, really cute. It's really thin, like a georgette silk, with lace all the way around it. So just fun, fancy, and frilly. So again, the next piece that I bought was 1920s, and it is really neat. It's actually longer than I thought it was from when I purchased it, and it is it's like a yellow linen with cutout drawn work and embroidery with cotton color blocks. I think it's more along the lines of an earlier dress than a later one, just because of the length of the dress. There is no demarcation of the waist at all, so which again, that's like a 1923, 1924 style. And then the two color blocks at the waist, drop waist essentially, they're really cool because they look like pockets, but they're not. And they kind of from below there, it's like box pleated. So again, it adds some definition and some variety into the dress. So it's not just, you know, Tristan. What are you doing? You want to be on camera too. Yeah, I don't even know what I was talking about. Moving on. I love this piece. So this was another really exciting purchase from the mid to late 1920s. It is circa 1925 to 1927. It's a robe de style dress. Again, I have no idea if that's how you're actually saying it, but that's how I say it because I'm not French. So it's based off of a Lanvin dress, which I think it's how you say that. Maybe. But so it's based off that style dress, and this one unfortunately does not have the panniers in the skirt, but it does have lots of cartridge pleating and ruching to create volume. There's several different layers. There's some lace. There's just volume in this skirt to make it more feminine and just a demarcation from the the very stock straight boxy dresses of the time period. This is a beautiful example. I don't know if it's couture or not, but it is somebody, whoever made it took a lot of time and a lot of care in making it. It's got this gorgeous pink silk orchid style flower at the drop waist, which then is highlighted by the sheer lace and the ecru silk underneath at the neckline. It's the same on the back. It's got the cutout, the lace, the V-necked, scalloped V-neck shape not V-neck, scallop V-style lace, and at the back as well. So it is overall a stunning, stunning piece, and I am so excited that I was able to snag this because it's a perfect dress for the mid to late 1920s. Again, 1925 to 1927. And I actually do have a photograph of an African-American woman wearing a dress just like this. So I was actually really excited I'm gonna pair those together in the exhibit. So that's super fun. So the next two items I bought together. So they're from two different shops, but I bought them in the mind of placing them on exhibit together. So yes, they're technically two separate items, but I'm putting them together as one outfit. So a pair of +4s and a maroon knit sweater. So I actually, if you have seen my previous video, which again I will link up here somewhere, I have a photograph of two women from 1925 in +4s, and I think one of them's wearing a knit sweater. But the sweater, it's sort of like a college sweater, where it's super long. It's got these big, deep pockets, and it's just overall a really, really cool piece. And it goes perfect with these +4s, these tweed +4s. I think the brand on these is Warhorse. I haven't done a lot of research on either of these, but I wanted to have that pants option in the exhibit because it became more normalized for women in the 1920s to wear pants, especially when you're with sporting outs, especially with sport outings, and other sort of similar endeavors, horseback riding, golf. They still wore skirts for tennis, but it was just becoming more normal to see women in pants. So I really, really love this combination. So again, this is another piece that I really, really love from my collection that I have similar examples in my collection, but this piece is just really, really cool. It's a Georgette silk 1920s evening gown. Very typical of the style, of the flapper style. It's got all these really cool beaded sections of flowers and triangles and flourishes. It's got a drop waist, which is also beaded. And it's just this really pretty pale peach sort of color. And this piece, honestly, it's so much more stunning in person than it is in photographs. And I bought this from an auction house, and I'm so excited. Nobody else bid on this piece. Well, maybe one person bid, but I won it, and it was super cheap. Way less than some of the other items in my collection. And so I'm so excited to be able to put this on exhibit. It's an impeccable condition. Like, there are not many flaws at all. So whoever owned it before took really, really good care of it. It was probably in a box somewhere, just tucked away. And I am so excited to be the new owner of this piece. So this next piece, again, I think I might have mentioned it in my last video. No one else bid on this piece at an auction, and I shouldn't have bid on it, but I did. I'm probably gonna keep it. It's pretty cool. It's got these really cool velvet, arabesque designs, cut velvet, and it's on a silk backdrop, silk background. It's got some beading, some that sort of give it like an iridescent look. It does have a drop waist, And then it's got this asymmetrical sash. I don't have anything, again, in like the early 1920s, 23, 24, it was all about the asymmetry. And there's, on this piece, it has like a velvet, I think it's velvet, I can't remember, I don't have the piece in front of me, but velvet sash to sort of give an elongated asymmetrical look to the skirt. And I don't have anything else like that in the collection, so that's why I'm keeping it as part of my collection and putting it in the exhibit, just because I don't have anything else similar to it. Overall, it's a cool piece. It's cool. It's just not super spectacular. And last but not least, the last piece I bought this year, well, 2022, was an envelope chemise. And this is the one this is a better example that I was talking about earlier. And so an envelope chemise is just like a slip, but it has a little flap at the crotch. So it buttons closed. So you could either wear it as a slip or you can wear it as like a combination piece. So slip and drawers. It's a really thin silk, and it's got lace details on it as well. So this is what she would wear underneath, next to your tap pant. Actually, you wouldn't even wear tap pants with this. This is your underwear. This would be underneath your corset, under your slip, under your dress. So this would be the first layer of your foundation garments before your corset. So not a super exciting piece to end on, but a very necessary layer when you're talking about dressing the part for the 1920s. Anyways, so that's everything that I got this year. Hopefully 2023 is going to be a fantastic year for Bustle Textiles. I already have, again, I have an exhibit coming up. I think it's going to be in November. I haven't marked down all the details, or haven't worked those out quite yet. But hopefully this is just going to be the first of many traveling exhibits that I'll be putting together. And hopefully the first of many videos for 2023. I know 2022 I didn't do very many, just because I'm so busy. I'm a workaholic and I have so many different things going on, so many different contracts, plus a full-time job and a husband. So we'll see how it goes in 2023. Hopefully I'll do some more, but anyways, I will see you all next time. If you liked this, definitely hit the like and the subscribe button, and I will see you all next time. Bye.